Hello. In today's video we will introduce the concept of corresponding squares and consider one of its most common applications, opposition. Corresponding squares are defined as squares of reciprocal Zugzwang. By this we mean to say that for a given position, whomever is to move is at a disadvantage and must give ground, this fact often being pivotal to the result. If you recall the previous video in this series, we have already met such a position, which is on the screen now, where if white was to move, he would be unable to gain access to a key square, whereas black to move would have to allow white to access one. This was the difference between a draw and a decisive result. The most commonly seen cases of corresponding squares are opposition, mined squares, and triangulation. We will now turn to the first of these, opposition. This is quite a large topic, so this will be the first of two videos covering it. In this first, we will define the term and consider its most basic applications, before delving into more complicated cases in the second. Opposition refers to a situation where two kings stand with an odd number of squares in between them, vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. Close opposition is when this number of squares is 1, i.e. the kings are as close as they legally can be, and distant opposition is when this number is 3 or 5 squares. Gaining the opposition means to achieve that placement of the kings with the opponent to move, thereby placing them in Zugzwang. It is worth noting at this point that gaining the opposition is often not the end of the story, and sometimes does not make a difference to the result. We will see some such examples in our second video on opposition. But for now we'll focus on the pivotal role opposition plays in whether a key square can be accessed. Referring again to the position we first saw in our key squares video, we can see that this is a case of the most basic form of opposition. Close, there's one square separating the kings, and vertical, that way up. With white to move, as we can see, it is a draw. Black has the opposition and there is no way to force access to a key square. If we make it black to move, he must lose. He must allow white to access one of these 3 key squares. Opposition is the main weapon in the fight for key squares, for both sides. When considering opposition, it is usually not one pair of squares, but several pairs. For example, we can see that the opposition would exist here with the kings on c5 and c7, d5 and d7, or e5 and e7. The stronger side uses the opposition to outflank, forcing the defender to concede ground. When the weaker side has the opposition, the goal is to prevent such an outflanking. With that, we have concluded our discussion of opposition for today. Please join me next time as we consider a more complicated application, that of distant opposition. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.